The Longhorn volleyball team took down the Cyclones.
Longhorn football heads to Fort Worth to take on the Horned Frogs, plus swimming facing North Carolina.
All this and more coming up on College Press Box. Welcome to College Press Box. I'm your host, Arden Polig, and I'm joined tonight with Reese Miller. Reese, how are you doing tonight?
Arden, I'm doing great. I'm a little nervous, but I'm really excited to be here. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Texas Longhorn football had a bye week, leaving us with no Longhorn football to watch. Reese, what did you do with your weekend?
It was a little bit of a struggle with no UT football here in Austin, but I was able to scout some of the other Big 12 teams, catch up on some other football. It was a good weekend. This Saturday, the Longhorns faced a challenging Big 12 opponent in the Iowa State Cyclones. So let's head to Gregory Gym for the highlights. There you have Hookham dressed in his pink supporting breast cancer awareness as the Horns are hosting Iowa State. Just about ready for game time as we get underway. We're tied at 6 now in the first set as the ladies volley back and forth. The finish with Tori Knuth. Iowa State up 6-7. Up next, a nice finish by Bailey Webster as Texas trying to catch up 11-13. We rejoin it once again. A kill by Kiara Capiezo. Up next, a block right there. Nice finish, and Iowa State takes the first set 25-19. We rejoin it. Chloe Collins to Haley Eckerman. They get that one. Chloe's going to try again to Haley. They're not going to get that one. Haley makes sure there is no return. Texas gains some ground, up 11-9. Finally, Texas takes set 2. We rejoin it in set 3 now as Chloe Collins again, a nice kill by Molly McCage as we're tied game 11-all. We rejoin it once again, a kill by Victoria Hunt. Iowa State would be down 3-1. Finally, Chloe Collins the set to Kat Bell, finishes it. Texas wins game 4 and the set 3-1. Now, this week, I had the opportunity to attend the volleyball matchup. Here's what I saw and a little bit more from Saturday. On Saturday, the Texas volleyball team celebrated breast cancer awareness through Horns for Hope and Volley for a Cure on Pink Out Night. The atmosphere helped Haley Eckerman and Chloe Collins lead the team to a great comeback victory.
It was a big win for us, obviously, in terms of the race for the Big 12, and very pleasing that we can come out with a win that way. I thought we did some really nice things. Obviously, our serving and passing was a struggle besides, I think, Eckerman served, but I thought we studied out after game. It's going to happen. Teams are going to play lights out when they play Texas. There's a lot of motivation, and we've got to play our game and study it out as the match went on. Again, we're very fortunate to have two great setters that can change momentum and things that we need to be able to do, and Chloe was that person tonight.
Despite going down a set early, the Longhorns reeled off 3 straight in dominant fashion over a tough Iowa State team to now sit atop the Big 12 standings at 6-0.
The coaches have been working with me a lot on just kind of shaking the next game off and trying to be smarter with my decisions and manage my game more and be okay with being dug and take the attempt instead of an error. I think we just were playing calm and staying steady and trying to make it so we weren't making the errors and forcing them to make the errors and worry more about our side than and what we were doing right and focus on what we needed to do.
Just our energy and our focus, we were able to regroup and just come out with more energy and be focused.
The Longhorns will look to continue their dominance in Big 12 play this Wednesday at West Virginia. Reese Miller, College Press Box. After the win on Saturday, with losses by both USC and Florida this weekend, Texas is once again at #1 in the national volleyball rankings.
Texas soccer faced off against Oklahoma State Thursday night in Stillwater. It was a scoreless game until the half. OSU scored in the 52nd minute, then Lindsey Meyer fired back, scoring her 4th goal of the season with 4 minutes left to play. After scoreless double overtime, the game ended in a tie, 1-1. Texas got ready to celebrate their senior night Sunday against OSU.
On Sunday, the Texas soccer team hosted their final regular season home game against the rival Oklahoma Sooners. Let's head to Mike A. Myers for the highlights. Well, it was senior day and also the last home game of the year for the women's soccer team. We join it 11 minutes into the game, still in the first half now, trying to get it on the board and get in the goal. Volleying around there. Finally, a Chantel Campbell pass to Marshall Davis for a goal, and Texas takes the 1-0 lead over the Oklahoma Sooners. We will rejoin it next. Less than 5 minutes left in the game, and Abby Smith, the goalkeeper, doing all she can. An incredible save there. She had a couple on the day. Texas is going to take it 1-0. The soccer team will play their next game, hosted by Stephen F. Austin at Nacogdoches. Moving from the pitch to the gridiron, we didn't hear much from the football players last week because they had a bye, and we'll hear more from them later. But here's what they had to say in regards to beating OU in the Cotton Bowl.
After you win a big game like we did, everybody's going to be excited, but we got to put that behind us now. We got a game this week, and we got, Saturday at 6:30, we got to be ready to play, and it's not going to be Oklahoma, it's going to be TCU.
Well, it definitely helps. It definitely helps winning that game. It's a big rivalry game, and it's important for us. But like I've said before, we have that 24-hour rule. We can't dwell on that game for long. We can't be thinking about it too much because we have another opponent. And when you get too excited about a game, a past game, and think about, how good we are, how this and that, that's when you get beat.
We haven't seen y'all since the OU game, so a lot of the questions have been about that. But honestly, that's far gone. OU's already played another game, so they're not talking about us. So we're on to TCU. It's another incredible challenge for us, and I'm excited to go down there and play in Fort Worth, from that area. So it's gonna be a fun game for all of us.
We played physical. We played hungry. We just wanted to go out and just show the world that we can still play, and that that we come out, we ready and we're prepared, that we can win those games. But I'm ready to stop talking about the OU game, honestly, because like I said, we got TCU on Saturday and OU's out the picture.
The Texas Longhorns may have had a bye week, but we have plenty of football to talk about. We'll be joined by Speeder Pandoria to take a look at what happened in college football last week. Stay tuned. This is College Press Box. It's time to talk about some college football. The Texas Longhorns may have had a bye week last week, but plenty of other games were played. We are going to take a look at the big plays from West Virginia versus Tech, Baylor versus Iowa State, and Oklahoma State versus Texas Christian University matchups. We welcome football writer for the Daily Texan, Peter Spendoria, to help us analyze these games. How are you doing tonight, Peter?
I'm doing great, guys.
All right, Texas Tech Red Raiders took down West Virginia Mountaineers last Sunday, 37-27. Tech's quarterback, Davis Webb, debuted in his first road start, making school history with over 400 passing yards in his first two starts as a freshman. What did you see during the West Virginia versus Tech game, Peter?
Well, I saw a couple of things. I saw that Texas Tech is going to be a pretty resilient bunch this year. They've been getting a lot of action done with their two freshman quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield and now Davis Webb. And I think that they're showing us that this is a team that can contend for that Big 12 title. They're 7-0 now, and they've kind of gone against the grain and done it with young quarterbacks. Now, they still haven't played the meat of their schedule yet. They still have road games against Texas, Baylor, and Oklahoma this week. So it's going to be tough for them to go undefeated. I still don't think that they have the best chance, but they showed us this week they can make a big comeback win. Of course, they outscored West Virginia 14-0 in the fourth quarter to come from behind and win this one. I also saw that West Virginia has a chance to play spoiler a lot this year. Of course, they knocked off Oklahoma State earlier in the year. Now they played Tech close. They played Oklahoma close earlier in the season. I think there's a West Virginia team that teams might sleep on and they might regret it.
Baylor played Iowa State. First off, let's talk about that final score. Baylor putting up 71 points against the Cyclones, who only scored 7. Peter, tell us what happened to the Cyclones' defense on Saturday.
Well, I think what happened to their defense is something that's been happening to a lot of defenses against Baylor this year. Baylor is number 1 in college football in scoring. They're 3rd in passing and 7th in rushing. This is an elite offense led by Lachey Seastrunk at running back, a Heisman candidate. Bryce Petty is the 3rd straight quarterback that Baylor has had that is putting up prolific numbers through the air. This is an elite offense, guys. I mean, this might be the only elite unit in the Big 12 is the Baylor offense, and I think they have an outside chance of contending for a national championship if they can keep going, because that defense, too, they held Iowa State to 7 points. They're 7th in the nation, allowing just about 16 points per game. I mean, this is just a really balanced team, and I think that, yes, they have some tough games coming up, but really, I mean, this team has what it takes, I think, to run the table in the Big 12.
Peter, I think you're right in the regards that Baylor and Texas Tech are extremely talented, but we talk again, neither of these teams have played the true powerhouses in the Big 12 conference. So I don't think we'll know in another 3 or 4 weeks who these teams really are. I think Baylor has the talent to contend for possibly a national title or a major BCS game. I don't think Tech's there yet. Cliff Kingsbury has got these guys playing inspired football and excellent football right now. But once again, we won't see who these teams really are and the potential they have to make a run in the national perspective until a few weeks down the road when these teams play the OSUs and the OUs and Texas for that matter.
All right, the Oklahoma State University versus Texas Christian University was a relatively low-scoring game on both ends in comparison. Peter, what factored into the score of this game?
Well, I think that we're quickly finding out that Oklahoma State and TCU, neither of them are the teams we thought they would be this year. They are both ranked in the teens to start the season. Neither team has really had much consistency on offense. Oklahoma State has kind of battled with which quarterback to play between Clint Shelf and J.W. Walsh. Neither of them have been that great this year. On the other side, TCU has struggled since Casey Paha got hurt. Trayvon Boykin is a nice running option from quarterback, but he's not the passer that we're used to seeing in the Big 12. TCU has the defense to contend against a lot of these teams. That's why we're seeing a lot of low-scoring games so far. But they don't have the offense to get it done. And I think that we've seen that in the last couple of weeks, that they're just not able to put up the points to match up. I mean, these Big 12 teams are going to score against TCU. You can't really rush against them that well, but they're still going to score some points. I just don't think that the Horned Frogs have the answer on offense.
Once again, excellent points all made by Peter there. For me, TCU is a little bit of a disappointment this year. They have a defense that can hold down these great offenses in the Big 12, but the offense in this conference is just not going to be able to put up a fight against these high-scoring teams like OSU. Now for the Cowboys, I think they're also a little bit disappointing. However, teams can't take this team lightly. West Virginia did get the upset, but this was a team that was supposed to contend for the BCS title this year maybe, and so I still think they can make some headway down the road in this conference.
All right, the Horned Frogs only put up 10 points against the Cowboys last weekend. TCU will have home field advantage in Fort Worth this Saturday against the Texas Longhorns. How do y'all feel Texas will favor in this face-off?
Well, Texas should definitely be the favorite in this game. They're coming off that big win against Oklahoma. They had plenty of time with the bye week to get ready for the Horned Frogs. TCU, on the other hand, has struggled lately. Only 1-3 in conference play, 3-4 overall. Texas should be the favorite. Now, what's interesting about this game, though, is that the Horned Frogs are number 1 in the Big 12 in rush defense, 17th in the nation, allowing just about 115 rushing yards per game. Texas, of course, with David Ash out, has relied a lot on the run. We saw it against Oklahoma. Malcolm Brown and Jonathan Gray really are the ones that led things there. Now, I think it's going to be important for the Longhorns to be able to establish the run against the Horned Frogs. If they can't, and a lot of teams have not against TCU this year, Case McCoy might have to take on a bigger load. I think that he has the ability to do it, and the defense is going to have to stop Trayvon Boykin on the other side, because we've seen running backs that can run, or quarterbacks that can run, have put up big numbers against Texas this year. I think we're going to see some more designed runs from the quarterback with TCU than we did with Oklahoma last week. It's going to be up to Texas to stop that.
When we talk about this weekend, for me, it's which Texas team do we see? Do we see the inspired team that came out and upset Oklahoma with a terrific run game and run defense for that matter? And I think you're going to need the same things this weekend in Fort Worth on the road against a tough TCU team that plays great defense. Is Major Applewhite going to stick with the run if it doesn't succeed like he'd like to early, and is Texas going to be able to come out and play inspired and competitive football like they have so far in the Big 12? And I expect them to do a good job this weekend.
All right, TCU, Baylor, and Texas are all undefeated in Big 12 play. Where does that put them right now?
For Texas, it's all about going forward. They've had a nice start thus far, being 3-0 in conference, but all the major teams besides OU that are going to be competing for the conference championship are going to come later in the year. So I still don't think we've seen how this conference is going to truly shake out yet. However, right now I think Baylor is the favorite with that prolific offense and a little bit of an underrated defense.
This morning, Max spoke to media about the upcoming football game against TCU Horned Frogs. Here's what he had to say.
We go back to last year's game, and we thought TCU was much more physical than we were. And that's the question mark of the week. We were very physical last week. Will we do it again? And that's what we have to do to continue to win. So this is a great week for us to play such a tough, well-coached football team because they're going to be ready to play. They had a disappointing Saturday. They're excited. It'll be a packed house. So it's going to be a fun environment and one to see how we respond.
Thank you, Peter, for coming in and helping us look at those games last weekend.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Coming up, the swimming teams faced off against the Tar Heels and the Aggies. Meanwhile, men and women's golf hit the courses once again. Find out how the Longhorns fared next on College Press Box.
Welcome back to College Press Box. The Texas Longhorns men's swimming and diving team faced North Carolina last Thursday in their season opener. They clinched a victory, winning 12 out of the 16 events. World Championship finalist and freshman Michael Hickson won the 1-meter diving event, winning by over 30 points. After assisting the team in the 200-yard medley relay victory, sophomore Sam Lewis went on to win the 500 freestyle. The Longhorns will face Indiana and Michigan, continuing their season in Bloomington, Indiana this Friday.
Meanwhile, the Texas women's swimming team also took on the North Carolina Tar Heels as 6 new faces collected event victories in the Longhorns' second win of the season. They managed to pull away late with a dominant victory of 171-129, led by freshman Tachija Carosas, who picked up a win in the 100-meter backstroke, where she clocked a time good enough for an NCAA B qualifying cut.
The Longhorns women's swimming and diving team faced off against Texas A&M last Friday. Lily Moldenhauer led the team with 2 victories for the night. Junior Emma Ivory Ganja helped the diving team collect 14 points in the 3-meter diving event, where she clinched a victory. The Longhorns took a loss in the event, however, defeated by the Aggies, 152-148.
This year marked the 40th annual Betsy Rawls Longhorn Invitational for the women's golf team. Top-ranked UCLA swept the tournament, but the Longhorns completed a season-best round of 3 over 291 in Tuesday's final round. The team managed to finish 13th in the final standings.
The Texas men's golf team is playing in the Isleworth Collegiate Invitational. They began the second round of play this morning at 7 a.m., where senior Tony Hakula led the Texas men's golf team with a 1-under par 71. After 36 holes of play, Hakula is tied for 19th place, and freshman Bo Hosler is tied for 14th place. As a team, Texas is tied for 9th place with the TCU Horned Frogs. They will tee off for another round of play tomorrow.
On Saturday, Texas took part in the 5th annual Wisconsin Adidas Invitational. All-American Marielle Hall was the Longhorns' top performer with a 3rd-place finish in the women's 6,000-meter race. Meanwhile, All-American man Craig Lutz led the way for the men, finishing 14th in the 8,000-meter. The Longhorns will enter the championship portion of their season next with the Big 12 Tournament Championships beginning on November 2nd. Up next, we check on men and women's tennis, see how rowing did at the head of the Charles, and get some predictions for this weekend's football matchup with the Horned Frogs. Keep it here on College Press Box.
Thanks for sticking with us on College Press Box. The Texas Longhorn men's tennis team is currently playing on the Baylor campus in the UTSA ITA Texas Regional Championship. After day 2 of competition, the Longhorns advanced 3 singles and 2 double teams to the quarterfinals. George Goldhoff and Jacoby Lewis will continue doubles play after beating Texas A&M and Baylor in the quarterfinals. The championship from each category will qualify for the ATA National Intercollegiate Indoor Championships.
On Monday, UT's duo of Brianna Addison and Pippa Horn defeated Texas A&M's combo to take the doubles title at the ITA Texas Regional Championship. The victory earned Addison and Horn a berth in next month's UTSA ITA National Indoor Collegiate Championship in New York City.
This Sunday, the Texas rowing team participated in the 49th annual Head of the Charles Regatta. They were able to finish the 3-mile course in 19 minutes and 46 seconds. 21 teams entered the competition, and the Longhorns placed 15th overall. Next weekend, the rowing team will compete in the Head of the Colorado in Austin and the Princeton Chase in New Jersey.
Now we are going to look at this week in Longhorn sports. David Ash has once again been ruled out to play in the upcoming game against TCU. This week in Longhorn sports, men and women's tennis are at the ITA Texas Regional Championships. Meanwhile, men's golf is at the Isleworth Collegiate Invitational. On Wednesday, volleyball takes on West Virginia and the Mountaineers at their place. That's at 7 p.m. Texas softball takes on Texas State, continuing their fall play at 7 on Thursday night. That game's on Longhorn Network. Men and women's swimming and diving also are at Indiana and Michigan, and the men's tennis team host the UT Invitational. Meanwhile, soccer heads to Stephen F. Austin and Nacogdoches. That game's on Friday at 7. Meanwhile, football continues at TCU. That's at 6:30 on Fox Sports 1. Volleyball takes on Kansas State at Saturday at 7:30. Rowing hosts Head of Colorado at Ladybird Lake. Softball continues their fall play at Texas Women's University. That's at 12 p.m. on Saturday. On Sunday, women's golf is at the Alamo Invitational, and rowing is at Princeton Chase.
David Ash has once again been ruled out to play in the upcoming game against TCU. Here's what head coach Mac Brown and quarterback Case McCoy had to say about the QB situation in Texas.
David is not back. Case has established himself now.
I'm not going to impress you on paper at all, and so that's who I am. I can't change that. If I could grow a couple inches, I'd find a way to do it. But I mean, I am who I am. You're gonna get what you're gonna get. Everyone knows who I am. So I thrive on that. I love it. My teammates love it. They know who they're gonna get. There's never a question about who I'm gonna be, and so that's kind of where we're at as a team.
I do want to say that David came out to practice. He didn't practice, but he did come out Thursday. He was in the team meeting yesterday, so he is doing better, and he still expects to play before the year's over.
All right, we haven't forgotten about the upcoming matchup in football this Saturday. Texas will be facing TCU in Fort Worth. Reese, what's your score predictions?
I think it's going to be a good game. I believe TCU will present a tough test for the Longhorns. However, I think Texas continues their dominance on the ground game. They stay committed. In case McCoy comes through big again, I think they pull away late with a 28-20 victory on the road.
I think it'll be a close game as well, Reese. I'm going with 31 for the Longhorns and 24 for the Horned Frogs. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter for sports updates at College Press Box. Tune in Wednesdays for College Crossfire and follow them on Twitter at College Xfire. For everyone in Master Control, and a big thanks to Reese Miller and Peter Splendoria, I'm Arden Pullig. Thank you and have a good night.
And if they trying to doubt the South, that's fine. We riding dirty at the same time, shine. For all the dope boys pushing on the grind. For all the dope girls keeping them in line. Hook 'em horns up, I hook 'em up. Hook 'em on big, I hook 'em up. Hook 'em hard down south when I ride. Hook 'em down south till I die. Hook 'em up, I hook 'em horns up, I hook 'em up high. Hook 'em up, hook 'em on big, I hook 'em up wide. Hook 'em on down south when I ride. Hook 'em on down south till I die.